Hello guys, welcome back to Archive Ryzen. In this video, I'd like to talk about SIRIS KSANA skill, weapon skill, logistic talent priority, team compilation, and recommended boss. If you are looking for SIRIS weapon comparison, I already posted the videos before. You can click here to watch the video. So SIRIS KSANA is a shotgun weapon user who deals thermal damage. Her role is a skill DPS that specializes in dealing AoE DPS. When using her standard skill, SIRIS creates a screen and starts charging forward with the screen. While charging forward, the damage she receives from the front side will decrease by 20%. Her resistance to interruption will increase, and dealing thermal damage while knock back every enemy hit by her screen. Additionally, receive 1 resilience when the screen hit enemy, but hitting multiple enemies in the same time will only gain 1 resilience. After charging her standard skill for a certain duration, the screen will upgrade to the second phase, where the screen width will become more wider. Additionally, you can manually deactivate the skill by using her standard skill again to shatter the screen and deal massive thermal damage to 5 targets in front. If SIRIS has available skill energy, while charging forward, she will also consuming 5 skill energy per second to gain several effects such as decrease damage taken by 20%, gradually increase 2 resilience per second, and speed up the screen upgrade to the second phase. Here is side-by-side comparison between SIRIS that have sufficient skill energy to consume and didn't have sufficient skill energy to consume. You can notice that the duration needed to upgrade the screen to second phase will increase significantly when there is no sufficient skill energy to consume. After shattering the screen in the second phase, SIRIS will gain 25 resilience and restore some ultimate energy. Additionally, after upgrading her standard skill in Neural Upgrade, when second phase screen is shattered, can also reset the standard skill cooldown and recover 5 skill energy for every 1 target hit. Up to 25 skill energy due to the screen shatter damage can only deal damage up to 5 targets. And after upgrading the additional neuronic upgrade, when equipped with thermal weapons, every pellet from her shot that hit a target will grant her 0.2 resilience and restore 0.5 skill energy. The good part about her standard skill is, has unlimited skill energy to use and no cooldown as long as the screen shatter damage always hit the enemy and you didn't run around too long with her standard skill. Can ignore destructible part, just like Haru Abscondito skill. Has unlimited duration so you can carry the enemies to a walk or push them down to hell. You can also broke the game. While the downside about her standard skill is, can only push back small enemy, so elite enemy and boss can block and stop SIRIS in her path. When using her support skill, she will smash the ground and knock back all surrounded enemy within the skill AoE, dealing thermal damage and apply shield to all nearby teammates. Upgrading her support skill can increase the total damage the shield can absorb and SIRIS max HP to make the shield more tougher, while the next upgrade can increase the support skill AoE range. The good part about her support skill is, there is no good part. If we compare with Ether the Cup who has almost similar support skill, SIRIS shield indeed can absorb more damage than Ether support skill healing amount, but SIRIS shield can only last for 10 seconds. So it can be used only to save your active operative or teammates in a very critical condition and give them time to retreat. Other than that, she has no other big reason to use her support skill. After activating her ultimate skill, SIRIS freezes time and begins to charge her attack. When charging her attack, SIRIS will start consuming resilience energy up to 100 resilience while marking 5 targets in her camera view. If there is less than 5 targets available in her view, some unlucky enemies who already got marked will get additional mark stack. And if only 1 enemy present in her camera view, the mark will stack up to 5 stacks. After charging, SIRIS will unleash Tide of Light dealing thermal damage toward the marked target, where the damage will based on how much resilience you consume during the charging. Additionally, C will also deal AoE thermal damage equal to 20% of the tide of light damage to every enemy in her camera view, except or beside the target with mark. So after you use her ultimate and SIRIS began to charge her attack, make sure to move her camera view slowly to the most crowded enemies as possible. So SIRIS can mark 5 enemies between them and nuke the rest innocent enemies without mercy. But keep in mind that if an enemy has multiple marks, the damage from the second mark and the rest will decrease by 50%, but cannot go below 25%. This mechanism makes her ultimate skill become more effective when against multiple enemies. Her ultimate skill is a very unique skill that can be very helpful for speedrun in neural simulation, because it has the ability to stop time while charging the ultimate skill attack. So you don't have to worry about C being too slow when charging her ultimate skill. Also because of this, her ultimate skill DPS will become very high. But of course, C can't stop time like this in co-op gameplay. After upgrade her ultimate skill in neural upgrade, damage other than ultimate skill can reduce the ultimate skill cooldown about 0.3 seconds per hit, which means from her standard skill DOT can reduce the ultimate skill cooldown by 1.5 seconds per 1 second standard skill charge, assuming that the screen hit one enemy all the time. While her shooting damage can reduce 2.5 second cooldown per shot, assuming that all shotgun pellets hit the enemy, which means her shooting damage can reduce more ultimate skill cooldown than her standard skill can dodge against one enemy. However, her shooting DPS is lower than her ultimate skill DPS. So if you wanna use her ultimate skill more early while still maintain a high DPS, just make a best skill rotation between using her standard skill and shooting at the right timing. For example, after using her ultimate skill, the simple and the easiest skill rotation is skill 3 times followed by shooting 3 times. And more faster skill rotation, after using her ultimate skill, you can shot 1 time followed by skill, then shot again followed by skill again, until your ultimate skill cooldown reverses. By using this skill rotation, you can skip the required animation after shooting by quickly using the standard skill. So you can speed up few seconds more faster to use her ultimate skill. If you have a better skill rotation, feel free to share in the comment section. But keep in mind that the skill rotation I mentioned before might be not really matter if you are a whaler, because this skill rotation can ensure SIRIS to has 100 or 120 resilience while refresh the ultimate skill cooldown in the same time. Meanwhile, whaler SIRIS can already erase the boss even without fully charging the resilience. While the second ultimate skill neural upgrade is, after using her ultimate skill, her other skill cooldown will reverse and replenish all her shotgun bullet at the same time. This one can be very helpful to maintain her skill rotation, so she doesn't waste her time to reload her shotgun at all. Her devo skill is shown by this purple bar, called Resilient Charge or Energy, that will increase every time her standard skill or shooting hit enemy, and will decrease from charging her ultimate skill. Whenever resilience energy is increased or decreased by 20 amount, SIRIS will gain 1 stack of rejuvenation effect that can stack up to 20 stacks. Each stack of rejuvenation effect can increase SIRIS attack by 2% and will decay every 5 seconds. The percentage ratio of the attack increment will increase by 0.5% for each 100 element index. After unlocking the first manifestation, her resilience charge can now gradually increase by 2 resilience per second, and her ultimate skill resilience consumption limit will also increase to 120 resilience. You don't need to worry about the 20-point increase of the resilience consumption from her ultimate skill, because the 20-point resilience consumption increment will get compensated by the ability to gradually increase the resilience from this manifestation 1. So this manifestation is very important to unlock if you want to increase her DPS. While her manifestation 2, after her ultimate skill consumes 120 resilience, SIRIS will immediately get 4 stacks of rejuvenation. This manifestation is very useful for boss battle due to its ability to speed up stacking the rejuvenation effect to its maximum, which is 20 stacks. After unlocking the third manifestation, SIRIS will gain additional 20% thermal damage when she has 5 or more rejuvenation stacks. This one is also very useful to increase her DPS output. While her manifestation 4 can increase damage ratio of her ultimate skill mark damage. In her manifestation 5 can increase the final damage of her ultimate skill mark damage that can significantly change the damage output of her ultimate skill damage. Next one is her weapon skill. The difference between her signature weapon skill and her free-to-play weapon skill is her free-to-play weapon skill can permanently active, so it can buff both of her shooting damage and skill damage, while her signature weapon skill only active when SIRIS is charging with her standard skill or ultimate skill. So her signature weapon skill only affecting her standard skill and her ultimate skill damage. For her logistic talent priority is quite complicated. Here is the DPS comparison between HP percent, attack percent, and alignment index stat when SIRIS has 0 stack, 10 stack, and 20 stack of rejuvenation effect. From here you can see that if each logistic has S-grade HP talent, which is 30% total, SIRIS DPS will become the highest among all of them. While alignment index can be the second highest DPS only when SIRIS has 20 stack of rejuvenation effect. However, if SIRIS has 0 stack, she won't get any benefit from the alignment index stat at all. Meanwhile, attack percent stat can provide more stable improvement to SIRIS stat. In summary, you can prioritize attack percent stat as a second talent if you are a speedrunner who can defeat a boss in a very short time. Like after using twice or 3 times ultimate skill, the boss already evaporated. Meanwhile, for longer boss fight, where your rejuvenation effect will stay in 20 stack for most of the time, then using alignment index stat as a second talent will be more beneficial. But there is one more thing in case you wanna ask about skill has talent. If you has 3 S-grade skill has talent, which is 57.9 skill has total, then SIRIS ultimate skill cooldown will reduce from 30 seconds to 19 seconds, which means you will be able to spam her ultimate skill more often. I have feelings that skill has can be easily surpass the alignment index talent. So the conclusion is, HP talent has the highest priority, attack percent talent is the second, while skill has and alignment index can be the alternative talent to replace attack percent talent, while thermal damage is for the third talent priority. For SIRIS team compilation, you can go with SIRIS Enya Exuvia and Acacia Kaguya. With this team, you can buff SIRIS damage a lot and debuff the enemy's elemental resistance, so SIRIS noob damage can improve significantly. But make sure to always use Enya support skill carefully, so SIRIS can move more freely with her standard skill, without moving beyond Enya support skill AoE range. Or you can use Ether the Cup as a healer and damage buffer in case you wanna play in Paradox Labyrinth, or maybe you can use Makir Shadow support skill as a final damage improvement for SIRIS ultimate skill damage. But the best team compilation for now is indeed SIRIS Enya and Acacia Kaguya, especially if you manage to trigger Enya weapon skill to the max before using SIRIS ultimate skill. For the recommended boss, SIRIS most recommended boss is Pi Purified, because that boss has the lowest thermal damage resist among all boss, and because SIRIS movement speed is so high that you can quickly step on these dancing tiles to obtain buff that can increase SIRIS damage up to 5 stack. That's why she is the most recommended thermal DPS against Pi Purified. Or you can go with any human type boss that has -10 thermal resistance, or mecha type boss that has -5 thermal resistance. Just make sure to avoid using her against boss that can fly so high and fast, for example Esther, Balfour, or his brother. They always like to avoid cross combat with your main DPS. Spider-Mech, because Spider-Mech has 5 parts, so SIRIS ultimate skill will always lock on to the most annoying part to nuke. That can reduce her ultimate skill damage by 50%. And also Anjal, because Anjal has shield and fortified part to reduce incoming damage by 50%. Also Fian Foen, because that thing has a high resistance against thermal damage. Fian Frostwind and Foen, because both of that thing has many destructible part that can ruin SIRIS lock-on ability to mark its destructible part and reduce her ultimate skill damage output significantly. I think that's all from me. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Cheers.